The time is now 7 p.m. We are going to call to order the Narragansett Town Council regular meeting. Today is Monday, October 2nd, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thanks. Next, we'll move to the approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to accept and place on file the minutes from the September 5th, 2023 regular meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 4-0. Next is a motion to accept and place on file the minutes from the September 18th, 2023 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopech. Motion passes 4-0. Next for announcements, presentations, I have the Town of New Shoreham resolution expressing thanks, which I will read. As we know, there was a fire on a Block Island in the Harborside Inn. We sent over 12 firefighters and an engine. So we have received this resolution from the Town of New Shoreham. And it reads, whereas on the night of Friday, August 18th, a major fire broke out at the Harborside Inn on Water Street, the main street in the Town of New Shoreham. And whereas the Block Island Volunteer Fire and Rescue Department quickly recognized that the blaze had the potential to overwhelm our island's resources and put out the call for mutual aid. And whereas in the very early hours of Saturday, August 19th, 2023, fire departments from Kingston, Bristol, Charlestown, Middletown, Narragansett, Newport, North Kingstown, Portsmouth, Richmond, Carolina, Westerly, Union Fire District, Dunn's Corner, Misquamicut, Hope Valley, and Jamestown heard and selflessly answered the call. And whereas the rapid and professional response from Narragansett saved the Town of New Shoreham from what could have been a catastrophic fire that had the potential to destroy portions of our historic downtown. And whereas, as devastating as the Harborside Inn fire was, thanks to the contribution of firefighters, equipment, logistical support, and the solidarity of so many Rhode Island towns, the fire was managed and extinguished without serious injury to firefighters, residents, or guests. And whereas the assistance from mainland departments was not a simple effort, and its execution the result of many months of planning by local departments, state government, the U.S. Coast Guard, the Rhode Island National Guard, and Interstate Navigation, all of whom gave time and expertise to foreseeing and drilling the challenge of providing mutual aid to an island 13 miles off the coast. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of New Shoreham expresses its deepest thanks and heartfelt gratitude to the people of Narragansett for their friendship, willingness to help a town in need of assistance, and the investment of resources made over the years to build a well-equipped and extraordinarily professional fire department. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded by the Town of New Shoreham Town Clerk to the Town Council of Narragansett with a request that it be shared with the citizens of Narragansett as an expression of gratitude from the people of the Town of New Shoreham. And further, be it proclaimed, we decree that this proclamation be made part of the permanent record of the town, witness our hands and seal this 5th day of September 2023. And that was signed by the New Shoreham Town Council. So thank you to our fire department for helping out, much appreciated. Okay, next we will move on to our town manager's update. Mr. Tierney.
Thank you, members of the council, and the public here and watching from home. And yes, it was an interesting night when the chief called me about midnight to ask if we could send a dozen firefighters in a truck over to Block Island. That was a first for me. And we appreciate the recognition from the town of New Shoreham and appreciate the services of the fire department. For the update for this week, there's a few items on here. For the Learn 365 compact that the council had authorized, which was the initial Learn 365, the town has embraced several programs outside the school year on a regular basis, and as an example of programs that fall under that are the Citizens Police Academy, the Citizens Fire Academy, the Mobile Integrated Health, the CPR training, the after-school programs administered by the library, the babysitter training and first aid and CPR, from Parks and Recreations, painting classes, fishing skills classes, and along with that, the Sprague Fund partners with the Parks and Recreation Department with supporting these programs for those who are unable to afford them and allowing them to attend as well. This is just a continuing process of what the town has been doing pretty much all along, and by embracing the initial, the first compact Learn 365, we continue to do so, and I think that's great. The second portion of the programs affiliated with this, with the Community Center Grant Program, which we've met with all the department heads on it, including the school department and the governor's office repeatedly. And what the program works is it's capital funding available for the town to renovate, construct, remodel a location, and it's a capital project alone, not operational. The obligation of the town would be to maintain a physical presence at this site, to administer health and wellness, job training development, and educational opportunities for a period of 5 years. In the event the town accepts the grant money, first of all, there's not many places we could renovate other than the existing library now, and it's a tough one to tie it up for that long. But if we were not to be in compliance by running these programs for 5 years, not just an occasional program, these programs have to be available on a regular basis to the citizenry. And if we failed to do that, specifically it questioned people in the State House, with other people, many people in the meeting, in a recorded meeting, said if the town's not in compliance with offering the regular programs for the 5-year period, the town will be required to pay back all of the funds from the grant, every penny. There are no operational funds being offered for these programs. It was stated that the operational costs would be what they consider, quote, a match from the town. Met with Finance Director Chris Wilson, Superintendent Pete Cummings, along with DPW, Parks and Recreations, the groups that would most likely be offering or partnering with nonprofits and with town staff. And so far, at least 7 communities have backed out of this portion of the program. Because of that, we all feel, me included, feel that an obligation, an unfunded, it's not a mandate, but if you take the money, you have to do it. And if you take the money in good faith, then you should do it. So we would have to maintain those programs for 5 years. Will there be some money available? Right now, there is not. So far, 7, might be more by the end of today, communities are not participating. Like I said, we do expect more. So at this juncture, it's the recommendation that the town not pursue this at this time. I think it has too many financial risks associated. We would need town staff or have to rely on nonprofits to run it, and we'd be on the hook if we didn't keep it up for 5 years. And I think that's a significant risk, and so does the staff, and so does so many other communities. And as you know, I've discussed it with some of you previously. But I just wanted to get that out there and let you know why we've made that decision. As far as an update from the Narragansett Police Department, the department now has 3 vacancies, and their recruitment drive is in full swing. We ask interested candidates to go on the town's website or contact the Narragansett Police Department with any questions. Also, a press release today from the Narragansett Police is a request and encouraging residents and businesses to participate into joining the camera registration program. It's a voluntary program. The chief will speak on this on an official agenda item at a future meeting, and it's where people can register their cameras and the police can reach out to them in the event that they think that the information gleaned from these cameras could help them solve a crime or help someone, or someone that would be an Amber Alert, or whether it be a Silver Alert. These cameras, as well as crimes, could help solve them. But the chief will give a brief presentation at the next meeting, because it just came out today. The Narrow River Professional Engineering Services Report, commonly known as the Narrow River Dredging Study, is scheduled to be presented before the Town Council at the November 6th meeting. The company was available on that date to do it. They wrote the report. We will supplement that with comments, which we have done with them, but it would be best if they make the presentation on their own report. The Narragansett firefighters will be having their annual ball on Friday, October 20th at 7 p.m. at the Dunes Club. If you go onto their social media page or you contact the union, they will assist you. The Narragansett Community Electricity Program. The new residential rates have been published, and a press release was issued. The rates take effect during the November meter read. A reminder to all that it's a consumer's choice to opt out or to stay in the program. Additionally, the residential rates under the basic and the standard plan still remain lower than Rhode Island Energy's residential rate, the one that we have now and the one that would take effect in November. The next cycle would change, and everyone, again, would have the option to continue to participate or to opt out. Other rates are slightly higher, but these rates are for those consumers that are inclined to support and have the ability to support more renewable energy. It offers an option that's not always available with Rhode Island Energy. So behind me is just a chart of what was in the press release showing the lower rates at the standard and the basic for the November read. An announcement from URI Health Services. In recognition of World Mental Health Day, they invite us all to participate in the viewing of Anxious Nation. It's a film preview and panel discussion with local experts and families. It'll be held Tuesday, October 10th, between 7 and 8:30 at the URI Welcome Center on Upper College Road. They said it takes a deep look into the crisis of anxiety and mental health in America, and especially its impact on our children ages 10 to 26. Flyers for the event are available at the entrance to the Town Hall chambers as soon as I finish this announcement, because they're in my office. Nuisance houses. Over the weekend, the police responded to, I believe, approximately 5 parties. 3 of the homes will be orange tagged tomorrow for being nuisance homes, and the others did not rise to that level, and they will be mediated with the community police officer, the police department, and the building official's office. Since they have not been fully notified yet, I'm not going to identify them, who they are. But with that, that's the weekly update.
Can I?
Thank you.
Eva, can I say something?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Councilor Ferrandi?
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for your report. This is concerning the, over the weekend with the noise issues that were in the neighborhood. I happened to personally witness one street down from me on Middle Road, and it was really chaos. I know it was Parents' Weekend this weekend at URI, so you might have seen a lot of parents and whatnot in town. And this was a party, which to my surprise even, it was, hundreds of people there. I guess the police reports will be out tomorrow, but from what I could see, there were hundreds of people there. And when I got there, I want to thank an officer, Sean. Derek Beauregard was the only one at this party, and there had to be at least 100 to 150. It looked like college adult people, students and whatnot, and a lot of parents from the Parents' Weekend were in there partying and drinking and everything else. And I couldn't believe it. This is like a new phenomenon that I've witnessed at some of these parties. So maybe some suggestions about if, I understand, I guess they've been doing it every year for a while in the homecoming, but maybe they could have more on-campus activities for some of these, so some of these private parties don't turn up to be, and I don't know, that maybe that's one of them that's going to get the nuisance house. But, Derek did a good job because he was there for alone for at least 15 to 20 minutes in what seemed like a really out of control, dangerous situation. There was parking issues, people were walking their dogs. They couldn't believe what was happening. And then you had two other officers, Calvin Carpenter and Chris Riley, ended up showing up a little later. So I appreciate that, but I mean, I can see what they're up against. With one officer going to several hundred-person party, it's difficult to control. And I was very surprised to see as many adults, parents, whatever, grandparents, whatever it is, actually partaking in the partying. So just a thought, just a little information that happened in my neighborhood over the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean.
Okay. Okay, well, next we're going to move on to the open forum public comment portion of our meeting. Again, the comments of citizens addressing the council are neither adopted nor endorsed by the body, but heard as requested. Also of note, public comment will not be taken on matters involving open litigation, and the rules are, there's a sign-in sheet to speak. It's in the back of the chambers. When you come up, you must state your name and address. Speak only on topics not on the meeting agenda, and there's a 3-minute time limit per speaker subject matter, and of course, please be orderly and respectful. Mr. Tierney, do you have this? No one signed up. Okay. We do see a hand up. Ms. Ciliberto.
Catherine Ciliberto, 48 Earls Court. I didn't intend to speak on finances, but it seems that we can't accept a grant because we don't have enough money to make sure we can maintain these services. Sorry, I came in at the tail end. If we take the grant, we have to maintain services. And this is so confusing to me. We have a lot of money coming into this town every year, and I don't understand why we kind of just like have the minimum required by law in the bank, and a little bit more. I know it's a little bit more, but it seems to me that we should be saving money every year. Even the library. Why didn't we have $5.8 million to build a library? Why was it such a rigmarole? We knew we needed a new library for years, and yet there wasn't any attempt to save money toward that. The other thing is, I just rode by Thompson Park, blackout, I don't know why. The change orders. Last meeting, I wasn't allowed to speak on a change order. We were always allowed to speak on change orders. If there's a new policy, I think we should have been told. Evidently there is. When it comes to the library, the town manager and the construction manager make the decision. Fine, but we should have been told. I was acknowledged for the next item, which was the furniture, which we had no right to speak on because that's donor money. So I'm kind of confused about what happened there. The other thing is this, that the town council members haven't received a raise in eons, I think it is. I was looking online, it seems to be this Narragansett Town Council, we're 30th in payment of the 39 cities in town, 30th lowest, in other words. And why is that? I don't know. It seems to me there should be some kind of, inflation rider, and start from when a raise was made. Poor Janet, I don't want her to look it up, but I know it was a long time ago. And so, add the inflation calculator to it and raise the amount that the town council members are getting for a stipend each year. I know you can't vote on that yourself. I'm not quite sure of the procedure, probably something to do with the charter, but I think it can be figured out by the town manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Nobody else was signed up, but is anybody else wishing to speak? If I don't see any hands, so I will move on to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next up on the agenda from the Finance Department, we have a motion to approve the annual licensing fee for the town's financial software suite from GovInvest Incorporated in the amount of $49,612.50.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Information Technology Department, we have a motion to approve the renewal of the dark space system from SHI International Corporation in the amount of $29,964.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next up, from the Town Clerk's Office, we have a motion to reappoint to the Library Board of Trustees 3 members for terms ending on October 1st, 2026, and 1 member for a term ending on October 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, so the way that I'm going to do this motion and this topic is I'm going to ask the council members, we're going to give 3 names, and of course you have the opportunity to give support explanations of why you're nominating these individuals. So we'll take 3 names from each council member. We'll come up with a slate, and somebody can make, after our discussion, can make a motion to put together a slate, and then we'll take it from there. So first, I'm going to ask Counselor Kopek for her nominations.
Well, the first thing I would like to do is are we doing this? This is called a recommendation. I can't remember. Is that what we're calling it? I'd like to recommend that Sue Amoruso be reappointed to her position. I think we've heard really good information about what she has done. I know Sue personally, and we've all heard, Sue here in this chamber. She's always commonsensical in her thinking, and I think she's been a tremendous addition to the Library Board of Trustees and to the library in general, because she works to help raise funds. She's in the library a lot. She's the person who got us in the Reader's Digest, contest, I guess it was, with a wonderful story about our library. So I think she would be excellent to continue in her role. So that's my first recommendation. My second is Pat Cole. Pat Cole is a former librarian, and she is a very civic-minded individual. I happen to know Pat quite well, and she is one of the most engaged people I can think of in terms of activity in the town and around the state. She is highly knowledgeable about libraries and how libraries work and what needs to happen in a library, and I think she would be a tremendous addition to the board. I did speak to almost all of the folks who were on our list, and my third choice would be Shannon, I think it's Oberhaus, how you pronounce her last name. Shannon has a lot of, she's an interesting person because she had a career and then she decided to go back to school because she was so engaged in how, libraries affect people's lives, hers particularly, but others as well. And so she went and got a master's in library science. And she's a fairly recent resident in Narragansett, but she loves our library, and I really like what she has to say. I think she has a very unique perspective, especially because she's had more than one career. So I would think she would be a tremendous addition to the group as well.
Thank you. Councilor Lawler?
So the one thing that we don't have on our current library board is anyone with a library science, and Deb just mentioned 2 individuals that have it. So The three people that stuck out for me because they all have masters in library science, or with the exception of Terry Safford, she has 1 or 2 credits more to gain. This will give us perspective we currently don't have. So the 3 that I took a look at would be Terry Safford, Shannon Oberhai, and Patricia Cole, for the reasons as above, that they all have library science master's degrees.
Thank you. Counselor Ferrandi.
Thank you, Mr. Straczynski. I, too, have looked at the resumes. There are some good candidates here. But my 3 are, after looking at the resumes and making some phone calls, Shannon Oberhu, Terry Stafford, and Patricia Cole.
Thank you. Okay, so I actually reviewed all these candidates as well. My thoughts were I would definitely want to reappoint Susan Amoroso. I think with this turnover that we're having, I would like to see some continuity and consistency there. So that's my first candidate. I also would like to see Patricia Cole on there. And it seems like there's a consensus here of Shannon Oberau. So those are mine, my recommendations for the Board of Trustees positions.
So we have 4 seats, right?
We have 4 seats. So there's three full terms, and then there's a term that's finished that we're finishing. Nancy McKinnon, there's a 1-year term.
Right.
Okay. Does anybody have any? Would anybody like to? We can go to the public, or we can.
We can hear from the public.
Okay.
first.
I see. I thought I saw a hand up. Sure, Ms. Celeberto.
I'm Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. I agree that Sue Amoruso should be reappointed. We need consistency since there's going to be a turnover. The other people, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with, but I think Ms. Amoruso should be reappointed. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak? Ms. Kelly?
Yes, I think, Lori Kelly, I'm chair of the library board currently. I think you have to reappoint someone. She has had a perfect attendance record. She is recommended by everyone. I sat here when people were missing 7 of last year's meetings on other boards, and they were reappointed. So I think this is a very bad sign to skip over Sue Amoroso on this. And she hasn't even filled 1 term. She came in and filled a partial term when Gloria moved out of town. Secondly, Terry Stafford, in the library's opinion, is not a viable candidate. She was hired as the circulation supervisor and left without notice after about 90 days. So I can't go into HR things because we are our own HR, but while she looks qualified on paper, there are some considerable stories there. And again, that is not an appropriate person on this list. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to comment? Okay, I don't see anyone. Any additional comments from the council?
I'd like to make a recommendation for a slate, Eva, if you're entertaining that now.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and reappoint Sue for her next term. I would like to also suggest Pat Cole and Shannon Oberhau. And for the term remaining for Nancy McKenna, I would like to suggest that we have Terry Safford. I did speak to Terry today, and I feel that she is an excellent candidate, and she is looking forward to serving. And I think with that slate of 4 people, we'll have the continuation that we need, as well as the expertise from 3 people with master's degrees in library science.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I have a couple of comments. One of the things that I looked at was the actual ordinance regarding.
I'm sorry, I apologize, Deb. We actually have a motion on the table
Okay.
So it's, right, correct me if, so is there a second for the motion? Yeah, I'm sorry. So there's already a motion on the table. Does anybody want to second that motion of the slate that Councilor Lawler has proposed?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. So actually, we have to take a vote on that.
Well, can we talk about that for a minute first?
Yeah, we can
Because
discuss
I just wanted
it.
to
Yeah,
make this
sure,
one
absolutely.
point. The point
Yeah.
is that, in the ordinance, one of the things it says is that residents interested in this position should be known for their civic dedication and known to be devoted to the public library as an educational institution. So one of the things when I was talking to folks, and I wasn't able to reach Terry, but one of the things I talked about was, what's your engagement, what are your civic engagements, both in terms of library and the education purpose of libraries, but in general civically. And I think it's important that we consider that as well as we go through this. And there are some other candidates, while maybe not having masters in library science, who have been very dedicated to the library, but also very dedicated to the town of Narragansett. And I think we need to consider that as well. And there's a couple of folks there too, but we have this motion, so.
Yeah. Okay, so I did review, we do have 3 candidates with library backgrounds and reappointment. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. Motion passes, motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopech, seconded by Councilor Ferrandi, and motion passes 3-1.
We're at 7:30.
We are actually, good timing, actually 7:32, so we need to go to our public hearing portion of the meeting. I'll let the stenographer set up. Let me know when you're ready. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start off, I'm going to be pulling motion C1. This is a motion to schedule. This will be actually coming up at the next regular meeting as for the public meeting. So we'll move to the next agenda item, next public hearing agenda item. It's the motion to open and hold a public hearing acting as the Urban Renewal Board of Review on a request from 23 Pier Narragansett LLC, doing business as Agave Social Club, to amend the last approved site use/plan at Assessor's Plat C, Lot 181-1A, 23 Pier Marketplace, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Do we have any? Okay, yes. Maybe needs to be sworn in, right? Is that or is it a lawyer? Attorney. Oh, you're an attorney. Okay, so please state your.
Attorney in Providence, Rhode Island. I represent 23 Pier Narragansett LLC, who is seeking to have a liquor license and a change of use for the space that I guess used to be the pit and patio, became office or an office use, and now needs approval from this council in order to become a restaurant and get a liquor license. I'm here with Roberto Leone, who's the principal of the company. There he is back there. He appeared before the planning board. I've read the recommendation of the planning board, which was for an approval. There are some conditions, and I think Mr. Leone can address those far better than I can, so I'll just step aside, and if you folks have questions of him, please feel free to go ahead and ask.
Okay, you need to be sworn in, so please state your name.
Excuse me, will you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. And your name is, spell it, please?
Roberto Leon, Roberto. Last name is Leon, Leon. Hello.
At this point, do any council members have any questions for Ms. Liam?
I'm just, this is an amendment to the last approved site use plan, but I can't quite understand what the amendment is. So if you could express some information about what the amended plan is, what's the difference between the original plan and the amended plan?
So what exactly the amendment is that because the space itself, which used to be...
Can you speak into the microphone so everybody at home? Thank you.
What the amendment is because the space itself used to be a restaurant
Oh, okay.
use, and then
Then
switched
it
over
wasn't.
to an office space. In order to become a restaurant again, it needs to come before the council to be approved back to a restaurant space.
Gotcha, okay.
Okay, any other council members have any questions?
Jim, is that the only change we're looking at here? The use has changed from or office to restaurant? Okay.
Yes, that's my understanding of it.
Okay, is there anyone else? If, Council
I
Ferrandi?
had a question in the, I'm reading the planning board's recommendation, and there was some, it looks like the outdoor area in the patio is going to be serving alcohol also?
Correct. That is our intention, to serve alcohol outdoors.
Okay. And I believe they had some concerns about how that's going to be, secured and whatnot, and again, what time is that going to serve at the same time the restaurant closes?
Council President?
Council Ferrandi, that is the next public hearing for the alcohol license. So this is just.
There are multiple public hearings on this license.
So we have, so we have
I'm just
another
looking at
license.
the planning, there's only one planning board report here.
Right, but we have
It goes
at
to
least
the-
five
But it's not
different-
part of this motion.
Excuse me?
It's not part of this motion, it's the next one.
Save the question, Steve.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So we can talk about the seating and
Yes.
everything else the next time? Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anyone from the public wishing to speak on this? This is just a motion to amend the last approved site. And so if not, we can move on to the next public hearing. Okay. And I didn't take a vote on the other one.
You need to close.
Oh, so, okay. Do I have a motion to close this public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. So next we have a motion to open and hold a public hearing on the application of 23 Pier Narragansett LLC, doing business as Agave Social Restaurant for a new Class B victualler alcoholic beverage license at Assessor's Plat C, Lot 181-1A, 23 Pier Marketplace, Narragansett, Rhode Island.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Oh, we
No, we haven't talked
we
about
have
it
to
yet.
talk about it.
To open it, you still have to vote, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
to open.
So motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Any comments from the council?
I just have a question. Mark, I know that the owner of the land had something to say as far as a liquor license in another request recently. Has the owner of the property, Scott Hallberg, has he and his group, have they approved this?
I'm not aware of any objections that were filed. Janet, has anyone filed an objection?
No, his consent was included in the packet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just wanted to point it out.
Okay. Any questions? Councilor Ferrandi, did you have questions on this one?
Yeah, okay, now we can get at it. Yeah, in the planning board's response, they had a few issues, and I've looked at the plan also. I guess there's going to be alcohol served in an outside patio, and they had some concerns about, the proper protection of the outdoor patio area. How are you going to kind of, detail a security somehow, or how are you going to try to?
If I could, actually, what the particular issue was the outside patio was actually completely encircled except for one spot, which is an egress. And that's required because you have to have an ingress, you have to have an egress in case there's a fire or an emergency. And so the concern was somebody coming in and out of the egress. It's not an open patio, it's just that one area. Now, as regards Mr. Leone, he operates already 4 restaurants. He's never had a problem. All employees are tips certified. So he will have employees out on the patio at all times. They are knowledgeable in what they need to do in terms of serving alcohol or making sure that no alcohol leaves the patio area. So he does think he has it adequately covered at this time. He just has an enormous amount of experience in operating a restaurant.
Yeah, one other thing, I see the exterior construction, I see seating at entry. Would that be a waiting area, or would that be where someone could be able to consume alcohol in that area too, or is that just a waiting area for the restaurant?
You're talking to the right, like,
Yeah, like I said, exterior construction of patio
Correct.
enclosure for dining area. Patio seating has 18 seats and seating at entry.
yeah.
So what's,
If we were to sit there, if we were to use it as seating for the restaurant for diners, we would have to enclose it, like rope it off or something per state code. So if we were to do that, to block off, yes, people from coming in,
so is it basically a waiting area there?
Well, no, we
Or are
have,
they
we
gonna
were
be-
planning on maybe using tables during the summer months, but, if we do decide to do that, we would block it off.
Okay, so that's included in the alcohol consumption area in the
Correct.
patio? But there won't be seats all the time? Some people will be standing up, or?
No, people would always have to sit down there. We don't have any standing room. We're not a bar or club or anything like that. It's a family restaurant.
And there's an interior bar also, correct?
We don't have an exterior bar.
Oh, interior.
We do have an interior bar.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought when I saw the seating at entry, I thought maybe those people would go in and, sometimes you go in and have a drink, wait for your table and come out. So I just I was a little concerned with, that's going to be, alcohol also there, but no dining.
No, dining.
Oh, dining also?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, correct.
All right, so what, your plan was what, just to have the staff? I mean, do you have any kind of written plan that you're going to be able to comply with, just to say that you're going to do a little extra on the patio to kind of control the alcohol from not leaving the premises?
Correct, yeah. So people have to go into the restaurant to be able to sit outside, and we'll have servers all the time and manager on call, like running the restaurant, and everybody's tip certified. We'll have a plan and properly train our staff to monitor that people aren't taking drinks.
Okay. And what are the times it's going to be open?
Right now, we're thinking Sunday to Thursday, 11 to 10, and Friday and Saturday, 11 to 11, and Sunday, 11 to 9.
So the alcohol will end at 10, 11, and 9 on the weekends?
That is
So
correct.
the latest it'll be at is 11 p.m. serving
That's
outside
correct,
the
yes.
patio?
Correct.
Okay. And there's no entertainment, I believe, right? At this
No.
point?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the council?
I was just curious about parking. Do you have dedicated parking that's associated with with the building that you're working out of? Because it's a part, I mean, it's the same parking lot that we have, we have in the pier area.
Yeah, just the parking lot that's accessible to the plaza, that's the parking lot that we'll use.
Because it's up in the back there. That's why I was thinking about that, right?
Because it's what, I'm sorry?
It's sort of in the back,
Yeah,
because there's like limited parking. I just wanted to make sure you have enough space there.
yeah. According to the study that our architect did, and from what been, just doing work and driving there, it seems like there's plenty of parking.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Lawler?
Jim, as far as the parking, has our building inspector gone out and suggested to the fact the amount of people that they're allowing into the restaurant, they have sufficient parking available?
Specifically, I don't know if that's the exact way it was determined, but the building official did obviously chime in on the plans, as did the fire marshal, as far as occupancy,
Okay.
which is usually done in accordance with the available parking. It's all private there, with no control by the town.
Okay. And to piggyback on to Steve's question, as far as entertainment, I know you're not going to have entertainment, but will there be music piped outside? I also watched the planning board meeting. It seemed that they were getting you ready for us to ask you the question about music. So far be it from me not to ask the question they prepped you for. What's going to be going on with music outside?
It's just background music, played through Sonos, just like for ambience.
So at a low decibel, so it's not going to
Yeah.
interfere with the
Correct.
neighborhood? Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public wishing to comment?
Lori.
Ms. Kelly?
Good evening. Hand, please. Do solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. And could you state your name and spell it, please?
Lori Kelly, Laurie Kelly.
Thank you.
Good evening. Tonight, I'm here representing Narragansett Casino at this point in time, and we are another business in the pier. Last month, we too had our liquor license before you, having been approved, as Agave Social was, 5-0 by the planning board. You chose to reject our liquor license due to last-minute documentation, which we contended was incorrect, from the landlord of the marketplace, Scott Hallberg, and the Trio Restaurant. We are now appealing that decision with business regulation. That being said, you might expect me to speak against the Agave application since this benefits Scott Hallberg, but I will do no such thing. We welcome new business to the pier and in Narragansett in general. Full occupation of Pier Marketplace benefits us all. Agave Social is a professional business. They have experience running a restaurant, and we welcome them. More foot traffic for all the businesses in the area, in turn, will increase taxes for Narragansett. It is obvious that this business will draw people to the pier, and once there, they'll see other restaurants and other shops and discover the pier. It's extremely short-sighted, and some would say selfish, to promote your business while trying to improperly block your neighbor's business. We've all noticed Burger King and McDonald's are in the same block, and there's a reason for that, because they think they do better when there are more stores next to each other. So we welcome Agave Social to the neighborhood and hope they do well in their business, sincerely. Narragansett Casino, unlike Trio Restaurant and the Beachco properties, is not afraid of competition, has no need to stop businesses coming into the pier, and will not try to get them to sign non-compete clauses. But Narragansett Casino does want this council to reflect on the change of attitude towards Beachcomber properties. Yes, they're renting this to someone, so they want this liquor license approved. They're not renting to us. We own our business, so they want to block us. And this council, unfortunately, has been manipulated into making some decisions that are detrimental to us as a business. So, but thank you for your time, and best of luck to Agave.
Thank you. Dr. Alba?
Someone's cell phone over there?
Excuse me, would you raise your right hand, please?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
So help you
Dr.
God?
Al Alba. I am in support of this business getting established. And from what I recall, Ms. Kelly, actually, Eva, our council president, and the other council members actually wanted to support you. And they asked, legal counsel at the time, I was here, what do you recommend? But they even said, our council president mentioned, we really wanted to support you, but, based on the situation, there was going back and forth between the lawyers, and they said, you know, based on the situation, sadly, we could not support you. So I don't think you should be casting judgment on our council. I think they used their prudent, you know, they thought wisely, they thought considerately, considered all the different avenues, and our council president even mentioned that, you know, we were sad we have to go this route, but based on the situations which was presented, this is the way we have to go. So I just wanted to share that with you, and I don't see the owner here presenting, I don't know why the owner would have it against Mrs. Kelly's establishment. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer. All I wanted to know is I think you acted in a prudent manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? Okay, seeing none, no hands up. Okay, so do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Wait a minute.
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to receive the Planning Board's recommendation in regard to the request from 23 Pier Narragansett LLC, doing business as Agave Social Club, to amend the last approved site use plan at Assessor's Plat C, Lot 181-1A, 23 Pier Marketplace, Narragansett, Rhode Island, to include a full-service restaurant with outdoor seating.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the request from 23 Pier Narragansett LLC, doing business as Agave Social Restaurant, to amend the last approved site use plan at Assessor's Plat C, Lot 181-1A, 23 Pier Marketplace, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to state and local regulations.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the application from 23 Pier Narragansett LLC, doing business as Agave Social Restaurant for Class B victualler alcoholic beverage license at Assessor's Plat C, Lot 181-1A, 23 Marketplace, Narragansett, Rhode Island, subject to state and local regulations.
So moved.
Second?
Do they need public comment, or that we already had the public hearing, right? Okay, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All
Aye.
opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you and good luck.
Good luck.
Looking forward to trying your restaurant.
Good luck.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go back to our agenda, our regular agenda. From the Parks and Recreation Departments, we have a motion to approve the purchase of one Swozy robotic sports field line painter for Parks and Recreation from Turf Robotics LLC in the amount of $44,950.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council?
I think we should sell tickets.
Yeah. Any discussion from the public?
Catherine.
Ms. Delaberto? Thanks.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. I think this is an unnecessary expenditure of money. Say a parks employee makes $30 an hour. Even if you were to pay him time and a half, you could get 1,000 hours of work, okay, painting lines. And I think you should give the Parks and Recreation staff the opportunity for the overtime. Plus, this is some kind of machine operated by what, some computer system? Come on, prone to failure, let's face it. And who the heck is going to be the person who is going to somebody's going to train somebody, I guess. Who's volunteering for that? I know I wouldn't, and I have 6 years of college, and I would not volunteer for this. But again, I think that we can, rather than make this expenditure like this, we can just use the staff that we have now. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the request from the Friends of Canachet Farm to receive recognition for their work and permission to install 2 benches on the eastern shore of Little Neck Ponds.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? Ms. Diliberto.
Catherine Celebrato, 48 Earls Court. I think there's just like too much information in this motion. There's a reference to the fact that there's a waiting list for benches. That's irrelevant to the site. This isn't one of the sites that is on the list for benches for Pier Marketplace, so I think that part should be stricken. I approve. I'm a member of the Friends of Canachet, I should say that. And I think both these people, especially Mr. Dr. Vangamish, deserve recognition. But the other part of this is that they made a motion to get recognition. They had to make their own motion to get recognition. And this, I'm not really kind of like not, registering here. I think maybe Parks and Recreation should have made the motion to give them recognition, but be that as it may. Like I said, I am in favor. I just think there's too much information. This reference to the waiting list and all of that, it really doesn't apply. And while I'm at it, let me talk about this waiting list. I have 3 benches. I bought one in 1993, called up Mr. Copper, said, hey, I want a bench. Went down to the gazebo park, picked out a spot. 4 years later, I buy 2 more benches. There wasn't any waiting list, and you know why? Because only residents were allowed to buy these benches. And we have a waiting list now, because pretty much every Tom, Dick, and Harry who comes into town decides, I want a bench. And I think that program has expanded too much, so I'd rather see it contracted to just allow residents to buy benches. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Dr. Alba.
Yes, I'm in support of, if these people want to have a bench, let them have the bench. Ms. Celebrato, I think, has 2 or 3 benches. I don't know, but that's pretty good. I don't have any, but that's all right. Good Lord knows I'm advocating on behalf of my dad. But in any event, yeah, if these people want a bench, it's going to, do recognition. They've done a lot of work in the town, so God bless them, and I would support it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Police Department, we have a motion to approve the purchase of ammunition for the Police Department from AAA Police Supply in the amount of $15,930.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to approve the annual contract for technical support for the Police Department's computer software system with TriTech Software Systems, Central Square, in the amount of $19,715.09.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, from the Engineering Department, we have a motion to approve the filling of 1 vacancy, water operator, within the Water Division due to resignation as well as any subsequent openings that may become available due to employee transfers.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. So next on the agenda is a motion to reject the recommendations of the Sewer Policy Committee and approve the waiver application for Plat V, Lot 4649 Point Judith Road, on the basis that the proposed project will be permitted to connect to the privately owned sewer fronting the property if a waiver is granted, which was not documented at the time of the sewer policy meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, so this one, so I actually do sit on the sewer policy committee along with Councilor Ferrandi. And we did make the recommendation to not approve at the time because the documentation was not there. But since then, we do have it. So this is why I am actually changing it and approving it. So that's where the background information for that is. So any questions from the council?
I just have one question. Typically, wouldn't this go through the planning board before we got to the part about the sewer?
The applicants in this case, they had met with town staff, they had this piece of land, and they did not want to invest an enormous amount of money into
Without
it,
knowing.
knowing that if they had spent all this money on architect, engineering, they did the basics which they needed to determine the suitability of the land to build on, but they needed to connect to the sewers. So before they spent all that money, they met with myself, building official, engineering, community development, and they explained to us what their plan was. They did not have the written notice of the owner of that line at the time when the sewer committee made that decision. And I'm assuming that's why at that point it was rejected until it could be approved. So if it is approved, in this instance, it simply allows the applicants to realize that if the planning board approves everything, and of course, a restriction on it from the planning board is contingent upon the ability to connect to the sewers, which they have the note for, the letter for now. So the planning board would have to approve everything. This is simply a pass to say, hey, if you make it past the planning board, you can connect to the sewers.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, and the applicant is here.
The applicant is
If anyone has questions. Oh, Councilor Ferrandi, yep, I just wanted to let you know that the applicant was here with any question. And Councilor
No, I don't have
Ferrandi,
any-
you're
I don't have
also
any
on the sewer
questions for him.
committee?
No, I don't have any, for
Okay.
the applicant, no, I don't have any questions.
Do you want to make any comments before the applicant speaks?
No, you
Or
know,
do we need the applicant?
I
to-
kind of made my comments in the sewer policy committee at the time, so.
Okay. Councilor Lawler, did you want the
I'll
applicant to
speak after, since the applicant is standing, I will speak after him. It's fine.
Do you have any questions? I mean, he's here if we had any questions.
I have
If
no
you-
questions for
Okay,
him.
then we can just take a vote on it if we don't have any questions.
Actually, I just wanted to put a couple things in. I'm very in favor of the affordable housing. I think it's an important thing for the town. But my question is really on the process. And I actually had even spoke with Mark about this today, but then thought differently a little bit later. We have a sewer policy committee for a reason, so I know that new information came, and in speaking with Eva, I know that she had said that had she heard this information during the time of the sewer policy committee, maybe she would have thought different, maybe Steve would have as well. But I think that we need to give them the chance to act as the committee that we've elected them to be. So I'd like to see this go back to the sewer committee with the information, the new information that has just come to light, and have them weigh in on it. And the other thing that I've been thinking about today is recognizing that in January of next year, 2024, the state has made a good amount of changes. I know we're waiting for Mr. DeLuca to work with the planning board right now with a bunch of changes that are mandatory for the town due to the State House changes. And I'm kind of wondering, what will this mean in January? That's when these changes take effect. How will the scope change as far as the amount of units that can be built there? And also to that, what would that do to the existing sewer capacity that we have? So again, I am for affordable housing. I hope that you guys get to do this, but I just need to know more information. I think it's more prudent for us to send it back to the sewer policy, have them hear you out with the new information that was provided to us in our packets, and then take into consideration what those changes will be in January. I know the planning board is working very hard right now to be able to present to the council what these changes will mean to the town. So I don't think that we should rush this one tonight. We need to take into fact what the planning board will tell us with their recommendations. So for that reason, I'm not going to vote for it, but not because of the affordable housing, but because of the fact the process, I believe, is not the best for us right now.
So again, I sit on the sewer committee, and and there is an affordable housing component to this, which I was really happy to see. And I think all of us here do want to see more affordable housing in Narragansett. And I'm satisfied with making the decision here because I'm satisfied with, currently that's the process that we had. It did go to the sewer committee. At the time, the information wasn't present, so sending it back is not going to change my my thoughts on this and my vote on this. So I'd be voting in the affirmative to actually support this. So that's kind of where I stand on that. So again, well, I guess we'll go to the public. Ms. Celeberto.
Catherine Celeberto, 48 Earls Court. I think we have to connect as many houses to the sewer plant as we possibly can. In this case, Mr. Gebhardt, our town engineer, is in favor, correct? So again, why are we second guessing our department directors? I know I do it to Michelle all the time, but I think Mr. Gebhardt has recommended acceptance. There is the affordable housing component. I think we could really get between a rock and a hard place if we start rejecting, people's willingness to add affordable housing. I think we could really get a bad rap if we do something like that, so I'm in favor.
Anyone else from the public? Dr. Alba.
Dr. Al Alba, 24 Eagles Nest Terrace. I'm not privy to all the information, so I know that you're the liaison for the group, so I trust that you're making the most prudent decision. I know there's been a lot of concern about overcapacity of our sewers from these Airbnbs that are flooded. I do support affordable housing. So I also would question, if we do have affordable housing, would there be, I believe I've read some policies about affordable housing in the past where there are certain restrictions, such as, these cannot be rentals, which would be a good thing. You don't want to have these ever turn into rentals. And there's a certain limit on how many people can actually live per house. So you can't have a 3-bedroom house and have 10 people in there. So these are the things that would have to be considered to make sure that there's some kind of control over the amount of people that could be residing in any of these houses. And like I said, I didn't know anything about what Mrs. Celeberto brought out, that the town engineer gave approval, and I would find that kind of ironic that our council president would not be privy of that information and why she would go against that situation. So I don't really know the particulars, so it would be kind of ignorant of me to say one thing. I do agree with Councilwoman Lawler that I am in support of affordable housing. I think that we should look at other places in Narragansett as well. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? Okay. So again, this motion is coming for us to reject and approve the waiver. And this would be going to planning, so this is just the first step for them to get that green light to at least be able to consider having sewer. So given the circumstances, I support this and being the representative on the sewer committee. So we're just going to take a vote on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No,
No.
but I don't discount the town engineer's opinion. I just think the process wasn't perfect, as it could be.
Okay, motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion fails 2-2. So next, from the Public Works Department, we have a motion to read, pass, and adopt as a second reading an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 62 of the Code of Ordinances of the Town of Narragansett, Rhode Island, entitled An Ordinance in Relation to Solid Waste.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to award the bid for concrete blocks and related materials to Old Castle/APG, New England, at their quoted bid prices for a 1-year period ending October 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to award the bid for frames and grates, manhole rims, and covers to the lowest bidder, Ferguson Waterworks, at their quoted bid prices for a 1-year period ending October 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion from the council? Anyone from the public? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Counselor Lawler, second by Counselor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0. Next, we have a motion to retire to executive session of the Town Council in accordance with Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-4 and 42-46-5A for the purpose of collective bargaining to discuss the labor contract for the Rhode Island Laborers District Council, Local 1033, pursuant to 42-46-5A2, and for the purpose of personnel to accept modifications to the employment agreement for the town manager pursuant to 42-46-5A1.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, I'll take a roll call vote on this. Counselor Kopek?
Deb Kopek, aye.
Jill Lawler, aye.
Steve Ferrandy, aye.
Eva Jasinski, aye. Motion passes 4-0. And we'll be back after the executive session with the votes and to adjourn. All set, Janet? Okay. All right, so we are back from our executive session. So we have the disclosure of the votes. I will turn to our town clerk for the first.
Okay, there was a motion by Counselor Lawler, seconded by Counselor Kopek, to continue the acceptance of modifications to the employment agreement for the town manager to the October 16, 2023 executive session.
Okay, the next vote was.
Unanimously voted.
Thank you. Next vote was to exit and reconvene, the regular session would exit and reconvene, which was a motion made by Councilor Lawler, second by Councilor Ferrandi. Motion passed 4-0. And lastly, there was a motion to seal the minutes, motion made by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passed 4-0. And finally, do I have a motion to adjourn regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion by Councilor Lawler, seconded by Councilor Kopek. Motion passes 4-0.